Well, hello again, family, friends, social media, onlookers and gawkers. How are you? I hope you're doing well today. This is part one of a part two post that I'm making concerning the upcoming No Kings protests and demonstrations that are scheduled for March 28th of this year. And I've been receiving notifications and invitations to that demonstration, but I'm not going to participate in that. And it's not for the reason that you might be thinking. No, I'm not pro Trump. I'm not pro MAGA. I'm not anti communist or whatever you. I'm not going because I don't want to waste my time and my money and my energy on an activity which will ultimately fail to fundamentally change the political economy of the United States. I can't see how a peaceful mass protest threatens the political and social position or threaten the dictatorship of the American ruling class. You see, we already live in a dictatorship. It's just the working class doesn't realize that yet. They don't want to call it that because somehow they still got faith in a system that they really have no agency in anymore. And out of these protests, composed of people with so many different social and sectarian interests, move the mass of the working class toward a true revolutionary challenge to the seizure of political and economic rule in the United States. Most political protests in the United States are conducted under the limitations set forth by the ruling class. And when those protests are not conducted under those limitations, then we see the forces of the ruling class state deployed to crush that movement. It's as if the ruling class in the United States is telling us, make all the demands that you want to, but we, the ruling dictatorship class, will, after all, still hold the power in our hands after you've folded your banners, after you've posted your memes, and you've all gone home. We have all been conditioned to believe that revolt means going out into the streets, which, by the way, are cordoned off, right? Not by the forces of the working class, but the ones of state power. And marching around with a banner, listening to people shout through bullhorns or chanting slogans, and then we all go home. So in the days following March 28th, what happens then? We're going to wait around for midterms? We're going to post some social media memes? Maybe we make convenient and tepid commitments to some impotent nonprofit or political action committee. Or even worse, that in the very next election cycle, we're going to walk right back into the dead-end alley of ruling class parliamentarianism. Permissible protests, guided by the models created by the ruling bourgeoisie, lead the masses right back in to a political and to an economic dead end every single time. The system is designed for that. There's an idea in the American activist zeitgeist that the system will magically surrender its power, and it will surrender its class position if there's enough mass political or moral pressure placed upon them to peacefully and willingly step down. But protesting in this way doesn't threaten the system. They're more than happy to let you do that. The only way that the system will, as Alexander McKay has said, will relent is through the means of credible and actionable threat of force by the working class. No Kings is not what a revolution is or will look like. Dissent? Sure. But that's manageable dissent. Is No Kings the pathway to real, effectual revolutionary change? Impossible. And I'll get into the reasons why in my second post. Now, on the positive side, mass protests are a demonstration to the participants of that demonstration of the latent power of the masses. There's real energy there. I'm not denying that. But where's that energy being directed? Most protests are never a means to seize political power or to destroy the system that is causing the problems to begin with. No Kings doesn't purport to do that. So now we come to a question that was posed by none other than Vladimir Lenin when he asked, what is to be done? The American working class needs to develop a consciousness where it not only recognizes that it is a class, but that it is a class unto itself and for itself. That it has the ability to seize power and to govern itself apart, completely severing and separating itself from the bourgeois capitalist system. The working class has got to build the foundations of a new political economy through the establishment of dual power structures within the old system. Right? The seeds of this change are already here. Right? That's part of why these people are going to protest. That's evidence that the seeds of this are already here. And that is an emancipatory movement to free itself from the old system. But those who hold the power in the old system are not just going to swing wide the door and say, come on in, we're going to fly off to an island. Oh no. And it's not that the working class should necessarily be ungovernable, but that political power should be wielded and defended by the hands of the working class. It should have its own government, a political economy that's severed and separated, as I mentioned before, from the power and the influence of the U.S. ruling class. And so this is going to require strong, independent, worker-based political leadership and a great sacrifice on the part of the people. If you think marching in the street with a banner, folding it up, going home, posting some memes, maybe a neighborhood reading group, I don't know, reading some capitalist economy book or something, I don't know, is going to change the situation or in the long term, it's not. If this is not the direction that mass protests, mass movements lead, it will only be another performative act without exerting real pressure on the shaky, moribund system that is still allowed to set the rules of engagement. So no, I'm not going. I'm not going to the protests, unless they have good music and good beer. But that's why. I'm all for the protest. I'm glad that they've got the right to do it. Not always the freedom, but they've got the right to do it. Right? And I appreciate that there's going to be some energy there. But in the long term, is this going to lead us into emancipation and a new socioeconomic order that will serve everyone? So why am I going to waste my time?